Third month in a row. Let's go. Another month, another movie, as I said last time. Because this time, I went out to see Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings exclusively in theaters this time. No streaming day and date release. The pure theatrical experience. And it did wonders, as it made plenty of money and hopefully can make enough so it can prove to studios not to delay their movies anymore. Anyways, since this is a more unknown um, character, I will explain this plot more this time, even in the non-spoiler section segment. So in case if people aren't caught up or haven't watched any of the marketing, but don't worry, I'll still keep it safe for the first half, and then start spoiling it the second half. So, knowing myself, I would watch anything with the Marvel Studios logo on it, even if it's someone I've never heard of, as I did with this. But at first, I assumed it would be another good but not amazing superhero movie. But then the reviews come out and say that's one of the best MCU movies ever made, which surprised me. I was like, this is the one? We have another Guardians of the Galaxy situation where the character casual audience has never heard of gets an amazing movie to then make a mainstream like this one as well, which I was surprised. And then I saw it for myself, and what I think of it, yeah, it is great. It's not top five for me, but it's still great. It's still one hell of a movie, and wow, what an achievement! Because aside from Captain Marvel, they've never let us down when introducing new characters, as they have us hooked right on the get go, and it have us excited to see them in the next appearance. And for sure, it will be the same here. But the difference is, I don't know when these characters are going to reappear, because since there's no 100% confirmed Avengers movie coming out, they never said where else these characters will appear in. So who knows? But whatever it is, I'll just be glad to see these people again. Anyway, what's the story? Shang-Chi, a son of an immortal warlord and a fighter from another dimension, gets taken back to his to the Ten Rings organization that his dad owns. Um, Back to the Ten Rings organization, alongside with her purely American friend Katie, for his dad, Wen Wu slash the Mandarin, can have him take his place alongside him and possibly have fear, invoke fear in those who oppose him. And him being the hero doesn't want to do that. He wants to do good. He wants to be free and wants people who love to be safe. And then that starts the whole conflict and whatnot. I don't know why I keep saying whatnot. Anyway, now that's the basic that I can say for now, so I don't give anything away for this segment. But what I can say about the great, just about everything. Well, actually, you know what? No. Damn, my mistake. I'll actually go with the negatives first, since that's what there's less of. The only reason why I don't see it as a masterpiece, as people say it is, it's just because of the concepts and ideas and the type of story this is the stuff that we've seen countless times in other superhero movies and especially Asian fantasy flicks. So just for a less bit of originality, I take away some points, but that's all I can say. Because like I mentioned, everything else is outstanding. From the acting, the casting, the writing, the action scenes. The action scenes are surpassed my expectations, because not just in the choreography, but in the visuals as well, because it's just been through so much planning to make it the best it could possibly be. It's well paced, it's emotional, it's the right kind of funny, and it's just charming as heck. I really like these people, and I'm glad to see most of them stick around, possibly for the future that the film sets up by the end. And and it has, just like what Black Panther did with African culture, this does for Chinese culture instead of just all Asian culture, which I'm glad for, because instead of just putting them all in one bubble, it gets more specific, and because of that, it's more respectful and needed, and it gets this fresh feeling. Because I know not every Marvel movie can be seen as a superhero movie, but because they have the Marvel logo in them, it counts. But still, as a comic book movie, it's fresh. It feels unique. And even when they have a super special effects driven finale, that almost lost me, not to be honest. I won't, not even here, I'll go into much detail for, but it really works. Just crazy that, in my opinion, seeing three great superhero movies in a row consecutively month to month proves that we still aren't gonna feel superhero fatigue. Like, it's just, for since the MCU started, like, you could see it started with Blade for this new age, and then the early 2000s flicks, and then the mid 2000s flick, and then the late 2000s flicks helped it even better. But now, by the start of the greatest years of the MCU to now, we still are in a golden age of comic book adaptation, not just movies but TV as well. As I've liked just about everything that the MCU has put out since WandaVision back in January, and I'm forever grateful for it. As long as if they're all at least well made and has some interesting ideas and solid action scenes and memorable characters, I'm not gonna be one of those naysayers to have it all go away because I'm tired of it. I might get an idea on why people might not be into anymore, but for me, no. For myself, I'm gonna keep watching as long as they're still well made, have consistent storylines, and have engaging characters. Anyway, now to get the safe part out of the way, I'll give a few seconds before I get to the spoiler segment. Anyway, now to the spoiler section. So much of this movie was surprisingly hidden. Like, this is more well hidden than Suicide Squad and Black Widow, and they hit a bunch as well. Because I did not expect there be a hidden dimension to this Asian-inspired location. Talo, I believe that's what it's called, and I can't pronounce that. Well, right. To this, I never expected to bring this to this film because, wow. And it adds more to its uniqueness. As it adds a new location that that future characters can visit if they allow it. So that kind of added an extra layer to what was going on. I didn't expect, I knew, I had an idea they would bring back Trevor Slattery from Iron Man 3, but I didn't expect him to have a decent amount of screen time. I just assumed it would be just a cameo because, like, what else could they do with him? But they did quite a bit with him. And so I'm glad about that. And also, what I haven't mentioned before, this movie has a great villain. Not top for me, but it's still a great villain because there's a reason why Tony Leung, I believe that's his last name, decided to sign on to this movie. Because for those of you that don't know, being my friends and family and others, he's a Hong Kong acting legend. He's no action star like Jackie Chan. He's known for his dramatic works, but he's famously rejected script after script and offer after offer from Hollywood to star in one of their movies, and he's been doing it for years. So it's crazy that this to be the first movie made by Hollywood where he says yes to, and considering the quality of this movie, no wonder. So it makes me wonder now there'll be more opportunities for him to be in more American films if there's a good story behind it. Because, man, he really does bring it. The acting, his motivations, and even his action scenes are just beautiful. A creme de la creme. Gorgeous. Artsy, artistic. Well, not artsy, but artistic. And yeah, it was also, this movie has us, considering what we've been having for the last few years with this massive ensembles, the cast of this movie is smaller than usual, which helps it to an advantage because it means it's more focused and more character driven, rather than having ensembles that take up entire subplots. So that's what I'm glad for. It's more focused by having a smaller cast, because knowing what's coming in the future, they're going to embrace ensemble after ensemble. So this is going to be a breath of fresh air for the moment. Thank goodness. Because everyone is given something necessary to do. No one feels like filler. The movie doesn't feel like it has filler. Every major character does their part. No one feels shafted or left out. Everyone does what they're supposed to do, whether for emotional support, for an action scene, or something in between. Everyone does what they're supposed to do. And man, those 10 rings, everyone's gonna want them now. Also, Morris, everyone's gonna want a plushie of him now. Damn, what? I committed myself to say more spoilers, but I can't think of any despite me loving it and having seen it a few days ago. What else is there to say? Oh yeah, Aquafina, / Nora Lum. She keeps doing great. She's not everyone's cup of tea, especially with her style of humor, but I've believed in her since she started getting famous 3 years ago. And I'm glad that she's doing this and working with Disney and working with studios and great directors, because I feel she deserves it. With the things that she had to go through, I believe she deserves it. And same for Simu Liu, because if you never heard of Kim's Convenience before this, you have probably never heard of this guy. Same for me, because I didn't know who he was until he was casted 2 years ago. Wow. And there's a reason why he was picked over dozens and probably hundreds of actors, because just like the director said all those years ago, he fills out all the necessary dimensions for this Marvel character. And now, if the momentum for this guy keeps going strong, he might be up there with the top MCU characters. And he's probably going to be a favorite to many Asian fans as well. Asian fans. And yeah, if I got to care about this guy's journey, even with the specificities of the Chinese culture, then anyone can love this guy. Everyone here is great. Even the characters that, like, his aunt, who doesn't appear to this halfway, she gets to do something impactful and memorable. It's crazy. This late, just when people think we would doubt Marvel and say that they're running out of steam because nothing was as amazing as Endgame, but I don't think that even matters anymore. Like, they don't have to be amazing anymore, even though I wish they could be. We all wish they could be. They don't have to be amazing anymore, but then they bring this out. And also, if you want to count it, Loki and many others, if people love him as much as that, they keep bringing new surprises. And we should never take this for granted. Even the people who don't like the series, this thing should not be taken for granted. And if you are, without giving it a try or attempting to care, then just stop talking about this series. Because if nothing, or just a small percentage of this makes you care about this series, and you keep talking smack, just move on to something else and just stick to what you like. Because we do not need unnecessary negativity. You don't have to like it, but don't keep talking smack. Please. I bet these people are going to be grateful for this fad to die, but it only happens if people behind these things stop caring. And I don't think they are. Because people say about this rivalry between Marvel and DC, but that's not the real rivalry. The real rivalry is between Disney and Warner Brothers and their executives and leaders. But I won't get too far on that, because, like, what's the point? People should know this by now. But yeah, wow. I do not know what those post-credit scenes are specifically setting up, because there's nothing in the future that says it's going to get a payoff to. But I'll be waiting, even if it takes a while. I'll be hopeful to see where those post-credit scenes lead up to, because I would like to see more of this side of the MCU, because they keep introducing so many new concepts that you wonder if they'll ever get to pay them off, because there's just so much at once. But hopefully they can figure it out without being too rushed or jumbled, because they've proven it multiple times they can do it. So I just hope everything they make after this is good. Does not have to be amazing. I don't want it to be average, but just be good. People don't want good, but what's wrong with good? At least it's not garbage. Because what do you want? The Spawn movie, Hellboy, the new one. No one wants stuff that's like that. Nobody wants that. People want good stuff. So people should be grateful. I'm grateful. So I hope they are too. That was Shang-Chi. Oh yeah, before that. Man, I just can't pick a score for this. But I'll try one anyway. I give Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings a 90 out of 100. 10 bling rings. Ciao. Ciao. Let's go. Come on, Simu Liu.